Hi everyone and welcome here to the Scotiabank Pond. My name is Jaron Blakeman. Tonight, game number 1 of the 2022 Nutrifarms OJHL Championship Series between the visiting Pickering Panthers and your Toronto Junior Canadiens. Barkley with it, hands it off, Martin steals it and the Panthers have numbers. In comes Martin, Wait, shot! That went on the back end of the net. Looked like Warren made a swipe for it but went behind. Simpson gets knocked off the puck. Hard by Podolski. In comes Fedak. Fedak to the net. He scores! Oh, captain, my captain! What a blistering start in the championship series. And it's Liam Fedak on the attack, putting it home. And it's 1-0 for the JRC.
Yeah, maybe you're captain, but not our captain. This is game 1 of the OJHL Finals. That was Liam Fedak making it 1-0. What a great start it was for JRC. And if you listened to last episode, you already know this wasn't a good start for the Pickering Panthers. They ended up going down 4-0 in this game. But the captain for the Pickering Panthers, that was Brendan Tomlinson. What a playoffs he had, but before this game, he was awarded for something that he did in the regular season, which was being the top defenseman in the OJHL that year. That was the award ceremony on the ice before game 1 of the Buckland Cup Finals. And then Rob Pearson, the Pickering Panthers coach, was also named the coach of the year in the OJHL.
You know, at first when the OJ called me, it was a little bit of a shock, with an understatement, I guess. I was just, kind of throwing back a little bit, to be honest. And you are overwhelmed when you hear something like that. It's a great honor, to be honest. There's a lot of great coaches in this league. And for me to be selected this year, I'm very proud of it. But I also know, and I truly mean this, I have a solid team behind me. With Rico Ciarzati as my right-hand man on the bench, off the ice. He knows the game well. He teaches well. He comes to me every time he has great ideas, and I love it. And then the staff, obviously, on the bench, Billy and Luker, Jen and Jess. I just really feel that we have a great team, and Scotty Nicholson's done a great job helping putting this team together with me, and I think it's just gelled, 100%, and I'm really happy for it.
And there was no one more deserving this year than Rob Pearson to win Coach of the Year in the OJHL. He was phenomenal. He took a group of admittedly really good hockey players and made them into a team. He gelled them together and he made them into a team. And from my experience working with Rob Pearson over the years, as long as he has a couple good players in the lineup, Rob's going to find a way to win hockey games. And to this point, the Panthers had won every single one of those hockey games in the playoffs. But Rob was hard on the guys, and there were some players that didn't love that, for sure. Rob Pearson was a tough coach. He was going to make you work. But there were also a lot of players on this Pickering Panther team that loved what Rob Pearson was doing and really bought in. This Pickering Panther team, and you're going to find this out in a much later episode, really bought into Rob Pearson's philosophy. Take Ethan Lindsay, who ended up being the captain of the Pickering Panthers the very next year. This is what he had to say about Rob.
For Rob to say that about me, it tickles my heart, and he means a lot to me. So he's the best coach I've had. So for him to say that about me is really special, and show the young guys obviously climbing the ladder.
The one thing that I would change within the later rounds against Collingwood and Milton is we swept them both. And we kind of didn't have a little bit of adversity for a bit. And then going into that final series, I'm not spoiling anything, it kind of worked less in our favor because we were kind of running on a high from the Stouffville, right? The big comeback and whatever, we can get over adversity, to 2 series where we were foaming at the mouth. And we killed both of those teams, swept them, and then we go into a final series where we kind of needed to get that edge back, and maybe we lost it for a little bit.
Fedak took the puck confidently across center into the Pickering ice and fires it by Roy. And the JRC on their first shot on target get the opening salvo here. Up ahead now for Fukakusa. Gives it off to Wild. Wild coming in, passes across. Haldenby scores! Kyan Haldenby finishes it off, and the Canadiens are going to take a 2-0 lead. Plays it on the far side. Barkley towards the net. They score! Liam Vidak with his second goal of the period. It's 3-0 Canadiens. In over the line, plays it around Adams Matthews. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What a period here for the Junior Canadiens.
Jaron Kleitman was the commentator for the Toronto Junior Canadiens. What a pleasure it was listening to him call the away side of things. I was the commentator for the Pickering Panthers at the time, and we were the final two remaining in the OJHL playing in the Buckland Cup Finals. After 2 periods of this game, it was 5-1 Toronto Junior Canadiens. The Pickering Panthers did not start well. They were getting heavily outshot, and they would lose this game. But they lost 6-4. They outshot the Junior Canadiens 15-3 in the third period. It ended up being 31-31, the final shots on goal. So the Panthers showed that they had some signs of life. But all in all, they were not happy with their effort in Game 1. So 1 loss in the playoffs for the Pickering Panthers, and all of a sudden, the changes started to come. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, Ethan, I guess the first question I'd ask you is, you're here with this new Pickering Panthers team. I know you played with the Panthers a couple of years ago. What have you learned about this team from your short time being here so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a pretty top-notch team. I stepped in for the league finals, so just to make it there especially, that speaks volumes of your team. And
Wait, what? Ethan Doyle, the overager? What have you been doing before this? I know you were playing over in Junior B. Now you're coming over here. What was this season like for you, not being a Panther the whole year?
yeah, I had a pretty good season in Junior B playing for the Caledonia Corvairs. We got eliminated in the second round of playoffs, and I played for Rob previously in minor hockey and Rico, and I signed an AP card with them before the season with the hope if my season did end, I would get some hockey with them, and so happened they were in the league finals when it happened, and I got the call up, and I've been happy to be here ever since.
This was especially strange at the time for people watching the Pickering Panthers because, as you may know, the Panthers had 8 overagers on their team, the max amount of overagers you could have on the team. Well, you could have 9 on the team, but only 8 can play on the ice at once. Zach Roy was 1. He was their goaltender. Fantastic. There's no way he's coming off the ice. Now you've got to choose between the 7 other overagers on the ice for the Pickering Panthers. What are you going to do? Yeah, and they were all really good hockey players, which
very good.
So crazy that in Game 2 of the finals, one of them had to be benched because you guys ended up having 9 overagers on the team. So I know a lot of you guys knew that Ethan Doyle was coming to the team. You know, it was you and him were the APs that ended up joining the team in the playoffs. Like, do you remember that moment? And, you know, that felt like it was something that was kind of tough for the locker room to see a guy, Lucas Rowe, ended up being the guy that got benched for Doyle to start that series. That ended up happening. But, you know, how crazy was that for you seeing that and, you know, thinking, man, like one of our best players can't play?
Yeah, I thought it was crazy. Definitely there's a method to the madness, though, with coaching. So there's a decision made, and not really knowing about another player, another overager coming, just kind of caught me by surprise as well. But yeah, like I didn't know too much about us getting another AP forward who ended up being an overager, who's also quite a good hockey player as well. But yeah, there's some uncertainty in the room at the time, but
Ethan Doyle was a really good hockey player. Ryan Johnstone was very correct when he said that. In fact, Doyle this season, you know, even though he's an overager, he was playing Junior B hockey. Not sure why he was in Junior B, but he dominated. Man, he dominated. He was second in the GOJHL in scoring. Get this, he had 79 points in 46 games, 33 goals. When Ethan Doyle came in and one of the star players on the Pickering Panthers, you know, had to watch from the stands, like that must have been something that was tough for you guys as a group.
It was a shock. It wasn't. I knew he was coming. Like everyone kind of knew he was coming.
Okay.
I played with Doyle throughout my hockey growing up. The guy was annoying to play against. I played for Ajax Pickering. He played for Whitby. So I knew what he was all about coming into Pickering. And I'm like, I get this guy because he's going to be a big reason why we're going to win. Like relentless, tough, skilled. Yeah, like another guy that like never really got his chance in the OHL from what I've seen, but fantastic player, and he came in and was an immediate factor for us. And I know one of our top stars got, but it ended up working out with him. And there's a story behind that specific player. I think who was it? Rosie.
Lucas Rowe. Yeah.
It was Rosie. Rosie, I remember that. And obviously he was disheartened by it, right? He's been a very valuable player. Rosie's a big skill guy, and Doyle brought something that was a little bit different. He was able to play both sides of the puck, and Rowe was very offensive minded, good shot. So he was kind of down, and I remember when you're an overager and you get scratched for another guy coming in, it's tough, right? And we, as a collective group, we went to actually a few of the guys. We went to Rosie's house. I was like, it's Marty, and we just pleaded, like, because he was kind of, upset about it, right? And we just like picked him up and said, you know what, man, we still need you on this run.
So, what a situation the Panthers were in. Down 1-0 in the series. Maybe a little bit of controversy in the locker room. Some people knew Doyle was coming, as you heard Matthew Altomare say there. He knew he was coming. Some people didn't. And admittedly, Ryan Johnstone might be the guy that wouldn't know, since he was also an AP that joined this team on their Buckland Cup run. But this is crazy. One of the star players on the Pickering Panthers isn't dressed. And just, by the way, Lucas Rowe was tied for the scoring lead on the Pickering Panthers this season with Ian Martin. He was the best point producer on the Panthers. So, here we go. New face in the lineup. Game 2, Pickering Panthers, Toronto Junior Canadiens, and this time the Panthers were at home.
Back to the line, shot, block, bounces around, goes through the blue paint. Tomlinson in aggressively, trying to forecheck. Now a chance at the empty net. Zev Podolsky scores. Zev Podolsky, his second empty net goal in as many games. And the Toronto Junior Canadiens ice this one in Game 2 and look like they will take a 2-0 series lead.
Nope, didn't work. Panthers lose 4-1, and now they're in a real hole. 2-0 in the series. Not good.
I mean, obviously, when you go into a series and you go down 2-0 and you have high hopes like that, it is a little discouraging. I'm not saying anyone said we were out or whatever, but like guys were kind of like, we were a little stunned, right? Especially game 1. We didn't, they were very well coached. I'll give them credit. They played a very tight game style. Didn't allow our guys, like our skill guys, especially our power play units, to get anything going in the first 2 games. We knew we were struggling. And Rob called actually an emergency meeting. I remember, not an emergency, but a team meeting, whatever. I wouldn't say it was an emergency, but we went in the room, we talked about it, kind of calmed down. And then we went out game 3 and went down 3-0.
Yeah, that wasn't good either. It was 3-0 midway through the first period. Fukakusa scored twice, and then Jordan Carafile scored shorthanded. The first 2 were on power plays, and then the Pickering Panthers had a power play. And if there was one thing that the Panthers could say they did in the first 2 games of this series, it was that they didn't give up. They always fought back. And midway through the first, Jake Partridge gave him some life.
On the power play, Partridge, Hutton keeps it. Hutton going towards the net, centers it out towards the net. Partridge scores. The Panthers are on the board. It's a power play marker.
And then Dustin Hutton scored his 7th of the playoffs, shorthanded.
Trying to clear it as Hutton. Wild stick snaps, and the Panthers have a chance shorthanded. Partridge back in. Partridge keeps that shot. Goes wide, a great job, and now here comes Hutton right back to the races. He scores. 1-goal game.
Next, it was Miles Perry.
Simpson keeps and goes behind the net. Back, Perry walks out, he ties it. Miles Perry with a game-tying marker. And the Pickering Panthers have clawed back to even it up.
And then Tyler Fukakusa scored a goal. That was his 8th of the playoffs. He was on fire in this series, and it was the hat-trick goal of the hockey game. So late in the third period, 7 minutes to go, the Panthers are trailing by 1. They cannot go down 3-0 in this series. Oh, did I mention Lucas Rowe is back in the lineup tonight?
In comes Catalano. He's gassed at the end of his shift. Singer can't see it. In comes Rowe to the net. He scores. And we're tied once again as the puck got behind the defense. Lucas Rowe walks in. Little John back out at the line. Played by Rowe. Rowe keeps that drive. He scores. Lucas Rowe has scored. And just like that, it is a 5-4 game. The Panthers have completed a comeback.
And you know what happens there? Scores 2 big goals for us. And we knew he was capable of it, right? Like, Rowe's a good guy. I grew up playing with him too. I know what he's all about. And another guy that just overcame adversity and showed what he's capable of, right? That's kind of what we had throughout that team. That's why we were able, and we were so tight-knit through all the team bonding and, all the times, I used to have poker nights on my house on Tuesday. All the guys would show up, like a lot of them, right? And we'd shoot the crap for hours, right? And, based off of that, we just knew how to trust each other, and everyone wanted to be a part of it, right? And it showed there through Rosie, You bring a new guy in, but we were still focused on achieving the same goal. It's winning a championship, right?
Oh, by the way, this game wasn't over. Panthers had the lead 5-4, but with just a couple seconds left on the clock, the Toronto Junior Canadiens had an unbelievable chance to score. And just some context for you. After the third goal of the hockey game went in, midway through the first period, Pickering Panthers pulled their star, overage goaltender, Zach Roy. A gutsy call. So into the game came Andrew Ballantyne. And this is interesting because Andrew Ballantyne had not played at all this series, last series, or even the one before that. And with the game on the line, the Panthers were going to need their goaltender, who hadn't played in almost a month, to come up with a big stop.
Podolski over the line. Fedak comes in. That shot stopped by Ballantyne. Rebound. Podolski stopped. Knocked away on the goal line. What a play.
He did it. He made the save. And he got a little bit of help from Matthew Altomare, who happened to block a shot in the crease. And Andrew Ballantyne had something funny to say about that. But the first question that I asked Andrew Ballantyne after the game was, what was your reaction when you were suddenly put into the game in the first period? And he said,
I was pretty scared, honestly. It's been a little bit, so there was a lot of nerves, but I find I play a little bit better under pressure when I'm nervous and stuff, so I think it was good.
There was a game-saving stop Altomare was talking about after the game. How did that puck stay out there right at the end?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was backwards and on top of somebody, and I just heard Alto say ow, so I have no idea how that stayed out, but I'm happy it did. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've been in, but I've been putting a lot of work in at practice, making sure I'm staying ready, and just waiting for my opportunity, and happy it came today.
Unbelievable. You cannot lose that game. But the Pickering Panthers went down 3-0. The season's over. It's over. The Toronto Junior Canadiens are too good to come back from down 3-0. They're still in a hole, but 2-1 in a series is a whole lot better than down 3-0. I also spoke to Lucas Rowe after the game, because if Andrew Ballantyne's big save at the end wasn't a heroic play, Lucas Rowe's 2 goals to tie the game and win it absolutely were.
Yeah, we came into this game kind of expecting that it was a do or die. If we lost, we obviously wouldn't just give up, but I mean, it's hard to come back from 3, so we knew this was a do or die. So now we're back in it, and we're going to be good now.
And it was funny because obviously the storyline in this game from an outside perspective was Lucas Rowe not playing last game and then being inserted back in the lineup and being the hero. But you also have to realize there's a bigger picture for some of these players than just this. Lucas Rowe was a guy who had very high aspirations for playing professional hockey. And I'll just spoil it right now, he does go on to play pro hockey after this. He was a really good player, and everyone knew he was going to be a professional hockey player at some point in his career. But professional hockey teams that are scouting don't really want to see you get benched in a game. And Lucas Rowe getting benched was by no fault of his own. It was just the way things had to go. There were 9 overagers, and someone had to go. Well, Lucas Rowe proved in this game that it should not have been him. But with that being said, he didn't want to talk about being benched. He specifically asked me that before the interview, but he couldn't help but allude to it when I was talking to him, because you could tell it was still on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, coach asked me to work a little harder, so said the hockey gods would be with me, and they were. Kind of a lucky bounce on the breakaway, and the other one kind of a lucky shot, good screen by Marty, so can't ask for much more.
Do you feel like this is kind of a momentum gainer for this team?
100% winning in their barn. I mean, I think that kind of takes the momentum off of them, especially them winning too. Now we're back in our barn, and we've got to take it again to them. Thank you.
A 2-1 series lead for the Toronto Junior Canadiens, and the Pickering Panthers are coming home trying to level the series at 2. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Beyond the Buck. We will have more on whatever platform you are streaming this on right now. Episode 4 is next.